Today we are going to do a video that is sure to piss off a lot of people because the video I did where I talked about the best and worst foreign special operations unit, really popular video, people like it. Tons of comments in that video asking me if I could do it for US special operations, right? Anytime you do something like this, everybody gets butt hurt. So since we're making a video that's going to make everybody butt hurt, we put on our favorite t-shirt today, which is our Happy Halloween JB tank top for our favorite president, right? Best president of all time. With that, let's jump right into it. So the way I'm going to do this, okay, and this isn't going to be so much like best to worst, right? There's no really worst in U.S. Special Operations. Every unit's really good. But let's just talk about it. Let's kind of rack and stack them as we go. We'll talk about why I'm putting units where I'm putting them, okay? So we'll start from the very best and go to the worst, right? Or I wouldn't say worst, but we'll get into it. Number one, this isn't hard, right? This is the easiest of the entire list, right? Who is the absolute best? It's not close. There's no conversation to even have. It's whatever naming convention you want to use, right, is Delta Force. There's 100 different names. Special Missions Unit, whatever you want to call it. This is the best of the best. The reality is Delta Force is comprised of the best and top performers from predominantly Green Berets, U.S. Special Forces, a lot of Ranger Battalion, and then, you know, Delta Force actually pulls from anywhere in the military. So wide reach, top performers of every unit, right? It's no surprise why they're the best. They have unlimited funding, best resources. I mean, they got it all, right? Yeah, with that, they also take the most sensitive missions, all sorts of different stuff. So they have the most support. Like, the list goes on and on and on. It's not even close. But, you know, Delta Force can't do things that some of the other units can't do, right? Like, Delta Force can't do what SF guys do, right? They don't have the manpower, right? They don't have 4,000 guys in their regiment and things like that. They can't handle the entire world and do things like FID and stuff like that. So each unit, right, has a different mission set and can do things that some of the other units can't, right? That's why there's not really a best and worst. But, you know, tactically and those types of things, Delta Force number one's not even close. We'll move into what you could say is number two, you know, and that is in line with Delta, and that's going to be your Devgru or SEAL Team 6, whatever you want to call it. Again, the best performers in that organization are all going there. Same thing, the most money, the most funding, the highest level of training. They're going to be near the top, okay? It's the best of the best on the Navy side of things. So yeah, they're not Delta Force, right? Sorry if you're a Devgru guy. I think you already know that. But, you know, still, you know, that's real tier one. When we talk about tier one, and let's be clear, a lot of people don't understand how tiers work. They think there's a rating system. Tier means the best, and the military doesn't. Tier just means funding, okay? So whatever your tier is how you're funded. So Delta Force, Devgru would be your, what you would say, tier one for actual talent, skill level, all things like that, right? Everybody else is pretty much below that. In line with Delta and Devgru, on the Air Force side of the house is the 160th, okay? The 160th, I've flown on the 160th into combat, things like that. These guys are fucking crazy the way they fly. They fly nap of the earth. They'll land right on target. They don't give a shit. These dudes are the rawest pilots out there. They do crazy shit. They primarily are flying Delta and Ranger by extension for most of their operations. Yeah, they're the best fucking aircraft and pilots in the world. They are right up there with Delta and Devgru, just from a air wing side of the things. Okay, it's not even close to the best in the world. That's how I would kind of like move down the line, right? So everything is sort of below those three. And so next, you know, maybe it's biased. I don't think it is, but I'm going to say U.S. Army Special Forces, Green Berets. Okay, why? We have the most, the vastest mission set. We can accomplish the most number of things, right? Be it unconventional warfare, direct action, foreign internal defense, counterinsurgency, counterterrorism, humanitarian. Like, we do everything, and we do it pretty well. It's sort of the jack of all trades organization. US Special Forces did the lion's work of the combat in Afghanistan in the last 10, 15 years, way more than anybody else. It's not even close. And we're really the unit that's called on to do a bulk of the actual work in special operations. We're also one of the biggest units by numbers, so it allows us, we're everywhere. We have, the 5, technically 7 groups, and we cover the entire planet, okay? And we get embedded with the armies and things like that. We're not just a point target type of organization. Very unique. We speak foreign languages. We're a force multiplying force, right? You don't have to have 100 Rangers go in and hit a target, right? You can send 12 Green Berets with 80 Afghans or Syrians or whoever to go hit targets. So very unique. And for actually accomplishing strategic missions and goals, US SOF is well above the vast majority of the other units. That's, you can call it bias, but that's really just by the numbers. So right along with us, in that sense, we'll say ranking, right, is going to be sort of Air Force Special Operations, right? There's quite a few. Predominantly Air Force CCTs, the PJs as well, CSAR, guys like that. But the CCTs especially are sort of like the SF or Green Beret. And these guys do a ton of different things, right? They can handle aircraft, they're JTACs, well, most of them are. They do airfield stuff, search seizures, things like that. Super vast variety of things that they can do, and they typically enable U.S. Special Forces teams, right? So on all my combat deployments, missions, we always had a CCT with us on the team that was attached to us, that sort of provided, a bunch of different things that technically, even though I was a JTAC, nobody's going to trust me to drop bombs on somebody, right? They're going to want somebody who's an actual expert in doing that, right? And they're really, really good. So at least all the guys I've worked with. So they're right up there. And then, I think we moved down sort of a little bit here, and we kind of have a bulk. And right, again, no knock on anybody, but you got to put these units somewhere. So next is going to be, and these all kind of go together at sort of the same level. We'll just say is MARSOC. Okay, MARSOC is the Marines Special Operations Unit. These guys are super talented, super good. The problem that MARSOC's really suffering is they kind of have an identity crisis of what exactly they're supposed to be. Okay, so if you look at their actual mission set, it's basically just like 4 of the Special Forces mission sets we're already doing, be it counterterrorism and COIN and foreign internal defense. That's already the SF role. So MARSOC's sort of trying to figure out what they're supposed to be. Again, they're a super talented unit, super high performers, all that, but Green Berets are already doing the lion's share of all that work, so they kind of need to figure out, with combat going away, what exactly they want that unit to be. It doesn't mean they're not good, right? They're awesome. Anyway, next is going to be Ranger Battalion. Okay, your Ranger Battalion can be considered the same tier as Delta. That's only because they provide some security and cordon work for Delta, and the funding works. Okay, so calm down if you're in Ranger Battalion. The reality is Ranger Battalion is a very advanced infantry unit at the end of the day. Okay, that's what they're really what they actually are. Okay, the vast majority of Ranger Battalion is young dudes, right, 19 to 25 years old. Doesn't mean they're not good. These guys are fucking hitters, right? If you want to send dudes out to smash a terrorist compound or something like that, send Rangers in, right? They're gonna smoke everybody. But that's the reality of the situation. They're very linear. They used to have a different mission set. Obviously, the global war on terror has sort of forced everybody into sort of a direct action kind of role as we pull ourselves out of that. Again, and if you think Ranger Battalion's better than everybody else, here's the saying, right? There's thousands of Rangers who become Green Berets. There's 0 Green Berets who have ever gone to Ranger Battalion for the most part, right? So it's a very one-way track, okay? Huge portion of The Special Forces Regiment is Prior Rangers, okay? And again, awesome dudes, super tactically proficient, definite stone cold killers, but, you know, again, sort of just a super advanced infantry unit. Yeah, and again, you know, if you don't like what I'm saying, leave it in the comment section, post how I'm wrong and why, and just understand I don't give a fuck about your opinion. But throw it in there because it helps the algorithm, okay? Cool. And the next one, of course, I'm sorry, you know the one we haven't talked about yet. They are on the bottom, and this isn't a this isn't a rivalry thing. This is just the reality. Is the SEALs? I'm sorry, guys. You guys are at the very bottom for a bunch of reasons, right? I actually have friends in all of these units, right? I have probably 10 buddies, former teammates that are currently or retired out of Delta, Air Force CCTs, PJs, bunch of buddies that are SEALs, okay? So I know I'm going to get flack, but the reality is the SEALs, obviously, super fucking talented dudes, you know, especially in combat, tactically. What SEALs have suffered from is terrible leadership, terrible planning, massive fuck-ups when it comes to missions, right? If you want to get into Operation Red Wing and some things like that. The underlying things you guys don't see in the movie, how fucked up they were. Yeah, just a bunch of unprofessional events that's really fucking been a problem for the entire special operations community because of some of the stuff that's going on. And because of that, the reality is they really haven't done almost anything in the last 10, 15 years because they sort of lost the trust of the special operations leadership in a lot of ways, okay? Sorry, if you want the truth, that's the truth, okay? That doesn't mean SEALs aren't insane in what they do. Of course they are, but, you know, actual SEAL operators, awesome. SEAL leadership and planning and things like that, oof, not great. Also, right, the Hollywood aspect of the SEALs, right? You have some of these guys that are turning out to be fucking frauds and phonies, that it's really degraded the optics of the SEALs in general, unfortunately, due to a lot of these guys. I'm not going to say names, you guys already know them. If anybody who knows anything about that side of things already knows who these guys are. So, and I'm not here to call out names on who's frauds and phonies. You can do a little bit of research for yourself. Yeah, so again, sorry SEALs. That's the way it goes. And then on the very bottom, and this is the very, very bottom, I would say everybody I just talked to, highly proficient, awesome units. Really, you could rack and stack them anywhere other than like Delta. That's just personal opinion. These ones actually are on the bottom, and it's not close, okay? So they fall under the special operations umbrella, so I'm going to include them, right? Civil affairs and PSYOPs, okay? These guys aren't special operators. I'm sorry if you're in it, you're not, okay? You're just an enabler, and at the end of the day, don't call yourselves an operator, okay? Because you're not. PSYOP, right? We had PSYOP guys attached to us all the time. Never provided any value. Civil affairs guys attached to us all the time. Never provided any value. That's just my real world experience. It was just they were there. They would input 5 minutes talking in a brief. Nothing would ever come of what they said or what they did, and we just moved on. Okay, so sure they have some practical application somewhere, but I didn't ever see it in my time working with any of those units. Okay, and then we'll have one here on the very bottom, even though they're not a special operations unit. There's a lot of talk of trying to make them over the years, and that is the SFAB, okay? Security Force Assistance Brigade. Basically, this is a new unit that is taking over a little bit of the advisory role for the Green Berets, okay? Which I've always been 100% big fan of. So a lot of people don't like, and SF didn't like when SFAB showed up, but really, they took away the one mission set none of us wanted to do, which is train regular Army units. So train the regular Army Afghans or regular Army Iraqis. We didn't want anything to do with that, so they can have that mission. But I saw them during our deployments, and the one time in 6 months they managed to make it outside the wire. They got flat tires, didn't know how to change their tires, and had to come right back on base and didn't end up doing any missions. So, yeah, they got a lot of work to do. But Overall, again, throw your opinions in the comments section. I know a lot of people like to get butthurt about this type of thing, so throw it in there. You know, you think you know more than me, that's great. But yeah, so hope you guys like this video. And again, you know, at the end of the day, all these units are super, super good, right? Any American Special Operations unit, even though I should just shit on the SEALs, blows 99% of any foreign Special Operations unit out of the fucking water. It's not even a comparison, right? So, those of you who seem to think like the British SAS or the Polish SOF is better than like Delta or American SF, that's a joke, okay? I've worked with, you know, a dozen of these units, and they might be good, but American SOF is head and shoulders above the rest, right?